The moon knows my tears tonight. It hangs low, as if it, too, has been betrayed. The desert wind carries your name, and every grain of sand whispers your absence. I am crying, and the reason is you, not because you left, but because you were once here. You once held my heart like a royal secret, and now it lies open on the marble floor of memory. My palace feels empty though gold adorns every hall, because your laughter is missing from its walls. The horses in my stables look at me with silence, as if they, too, sense my heartbreak beneath my robes. Even the falcons no longer fly at dawn. They perch upon sorrow's edge, their wings heavy with my grief. I wear my crown, but it burns like fire, for a king without love is just a lonely poet. I wrote your name upon the sea, but the waves refused to carry it far. Perhaps the ocean too is loyal to pain. Perhaps even water can remember heartbreak. Every prayer I whisper trembles, because the angels must wonder why I weep, when the world sees me as royal and strong. But what do they know of nights, where the moonlight feels colder than your last word? You once told me my eyes were verses of promise. Now they are mirrors of regret. You once said love was eternal, but eternity broke when you walked away. My tears are not salt, they are confession, and each one carries a poem within. I told my soul to forget you, but it laughed, a cruel, loyal laugh. How do I unlove the one who taught my heart to speak in poetry? How do I erase the scent of your hair that lingers even in my dreams? You were my dawn and my dusk, my reason to write and my reason to cry. Now the ink on my fingers trembles, as I write verses that bleed instead of speak. I saw your face in a passing cloud. It smiled, then vanished like mercy in a storm. I touched my chest, and found your ghost there, still whispering the word, forever. I am crying, and the reason is you. The stars above hear me confess your name. They twinkle not from joy, but from sympathy for a poet undone. I told the night I wanted peace. It gave me your memory instead. I begged dawn for warmth. It gave me another reminder of your eyes. Every place I once loved you in now burns with longing. Even my throne feels colder without your smile. My royal robes cannot hide the ache within, nor can a kingdom fill the silence of one heart. You were my muse, my melody, the rhythm of my every breath. Now, even silence hums your absence, and every poem ends with your name. If I could bleed words, they would spell out your loss in ruby red. If tears were jewels, my palace would overflow with sorrow's gems. You broke me gently, as if kindness could make heartbreak holy. You left without thunder or warning, only silence, and silence hurts more than hate. The world still calls me prince, but love stripped me of all titles. Now I am just a man in love with pain, poet haunted by what could never stay. And though the sun rises, my soul remains dusk, because somewhere, you exist without me, and that truth burns brighter than fire. I am crying, and the reason is you, because loving you was divine, and losing you was destiny written in ash. I remember the first night I saw you, when the world seemed made of light and promise. Your eyes had oceans in them, and I drowned without regret. Now, those same eyes live only in memory, and the promise turned to poetry carved from pain. Every time I close my eyes, I see you walking away in slow motion, as if time itself wept for us. I am crying, and the reason is you, because the universe still conspires to remind me of your absence. Every fragrance, every melody, every whisper of the wind carries you. The garden of my heart has wilted. Its roses bend their heads in mourning. I water them with my tears, but they bloom only in sorrow. Even my shadow feels lighter without you near, as if it too lost its depth when you left. Your voice once cured my sadness. Now it echoes in silence like a broken lullaby. I write your name in the sand again and again, only to watch the tide erase it, a cruel reminder that love is sometimes a lesson written in waves. My horses gallop across the dunes, like my thoughts racing toward the past. I hold their reins with trembling hands, but what I wish to control is memory itself. You were my serenity, the prayer I didn't know I was whispering. Now even prayer feels like noise, for heaven knows you are my only plea. Every star that shines tonight has heard your name from my lips. They flicker like tiny tears in the sky, unable to outshine the sorrow of my heart. You left behind the scent of jasmine, but even the flowers now refuse to bloom. The nightingales stopped singing your melody, for love abandoned them too. I am crying, and the reason is you, because I believed love was eternal. I thought two souls that meet in truth could never part in pain. But fate is a silent thief, and it took you when I was still learning to smile. The palace corridors echo with emptiness. Each step I take recalls your laughter. I still set your cup on the table at dawn, pretending you might return for morning tea. The servants bow unaware that behind my calm eyes lives a storm. They call me Your Highness, but they do not see the ruin beneath my crown. Sometimes I think of you as the rain, soft and pure, touching everything yet staying nowhere. Other times, I see you as fire, beautiful but born to consume. And I am the wind, forever chasing what cannot be held. Do you know how it feels to write your own heartbreak with trembling hands? To watch ink bleed like wounds upon parchment? To realize every verse is a cry you cannot silence? You are the poem that refuses to end, the pain that refuses to fade. Even when I try to write of something else, your shadow spills across the page. My heart once spoke in love's language. Now it speaks in sighs and pauses. My silence is not peace. It is exhaustion, a surrender to what will never return. I looked for you in the crowds, in every glance that felt familiar, but you were nowhere, because you are everywhere in memory. The moonlight used to bless our nights. Now it mocks me, reminding me how beautifully you glowed under its silver gaze. I am crying, and the reason is you, because the world still moves, but mine stopped the day you left. The birds sing as if nothing changed. The sun rises as if hearts never break. But I live between minutes, where time refuses to heal. You were not just a person. You were my reason for poetry, my proof that love could be divine. Now I write only to survive you. Each line a breath I refuse to lose. The ink runs out, yet I continue, because your memory fills every vein. If love is a wound, then mine is a crown of fire I wear proudly. You once told me that pain creates poets. Perhaps that's why I became eternal. For your love carved verses into my soul, and your loss made them bleed beauty. Sometimes I smile when I cry, because in pain I still find you. Even heartbreak cannot erase the grace of having loved you once. And though you are gone, my devotion stands unshaken, like a prayer whispered to the stars, never answered, but never silenced. I am crying, and the reason is you, because love was my kingdom, and you were its queen. Without you, I rule over nothing, but memories dressed as dreams. I watched the dawn break today, and for a moment I thought I saw you in the light, but it was only my heart playing its cruel tricks, reminding me that hope can hurt more than heartbreak. The desert horizon blushes with the memory of your face. Its colors fade where your smile once belonged. Every breath I take feels borrowed, as if I am living on the kindness of pain. I am crying, and the reason is you, because your silence has become louder than words, and even in your absence, you speak through everything that still lives in me. I told the ocean to forget your reflection, but it refused. It said some beauty cannot be erased. I told the wind to stop whispering your name, but it carried it further, to every corner of my soul. My eyes have forgotten sleep. They only know the rhythm of tears. My heart beats with a question it cannot answer, a melody that ends before it begins. If love is a prayer, then I am still kneeling. If sorrow is sacred, then I am its poet king. You were the poetry I dreamed to live, the sunlight that touched my soul without permission. Now you are gone, but your shadow still wears my heartbeat. I wander through memories like a lost traveler, carrying only the scent of your laughter. The sky feels endless without your gaze, and the stars are too shy to shine where you once stood. I am crying, and the reason is you, because I see your reflection in everything pure, and it hurts to know that purity left with you. I touch my chest and find your absence, yet it beats with your rhythm. I breathe, but every inhale feels heavy, as if air itself mourns what we lost. I spoke to my reflection tonight. It asked me why I look older than my years. I smiled weakly and said, because love aged me when it left. My words have lost their faith. They tremble before your name. Even my verses bow in sorrow, for they know they can never reach you. You were not a chapter in my story. You were the ink itself. Now that you're gone, every page bleeds. Every poem feels incomplete. I once thought strength meant not crying, but now I know. True strength is crying for what was real. And what we had was real enough to destroy me beautifully. The candles in my room flicker your memory. Their flames bow when I whisper your name. The night listens quietly, afraid to disturb a heart so broken it still loves. You were my muse, my madness, my melody. Now you are the silence that hums beneath every word. I tried to hate you once, but love refused. It stood at the door of my soul and wept instead. Every time it rains, I think heaven is crying for us. Each drop feels like your goodbye, falling again and again on my skin. The garden I planted for you still grows, but the flowers bend toward the ground, as if missing your touch. Even beauty mourns you, my love. I am crying, and the reason is you, because your memory has become my home, and I am forever trapped inside. You once told me that time heals everything, but time only taught me how to live with pain gracefully. It didn't heal me. It sculpted me from sorrow, turned my tears into diamonds no one can see. Sometimes I hear your laughter in my dreams, and I wake up smiling through tears. It's cruel how happiness visits me only in sleep, then leaves me to face reality alone. If I could send a message to your heart, I'd say, you are still my forever, even if forever forgot my name. The stars write your initials across the sky. The moon guards your secrets still. Even God must know that I still pray for you in silence. My lips have forgotten the taste of joy, my hands the warmth of belonging. But my soul, oh my soul, it still kneels before the altar of your love. I am crying, and the reason is you, because even pain feels holy when it reminds me of you. There are nights I whisper your name to the wind, hoping it finds you wherever you are. And if you hear it, my love, know that it carries my tears too. I still wear the bracelet you gifted. The shine faded, yet its memory eternal. It feels like your hand still lingers there, soft, distant, unforgotten. Every word I write is a promise to remember. Every silence between verses a sigh for you. You are my unfinished poem, the ache that makes art eternal. And though people see a prince, they do not know the beggar within, begging fate for one more moment with you. I am crying, and the reason is you, because loving you was heaven, but living without you is life itself, a punishment too real to end. Tonight the moon returns, patient and pale, as if waiting to hear the rest of my sorrow. I sit beneath its silver gaze, and the night feels like an endless letter addressed to you. Every tear that falls becomes a verse, every sigh an echo of your name. I am crying, and the reason is you, because I still believe love should have lasted longer than goodbye. I thought time would teach me to forget, but instead it carved your absence deeper. The years have passed like wandering camels across the dunes, and still the desert of my heart calls your name. My eyes are rivers that never dry. They flow quietly into the sea of longing. Sometimes I dip my hand into that water and feel you trembling in every reflection. You left your perfume on the pillow, and though its scent has faded, its memory refuses to die. Even silence remembers you, my love. I tell myself I am strong, but strength has no meaning without your gaze. I wear my sadness like royal silk, beautiful, soft, and unbearable. You were the reason my heart learned to write, and now it writes only elegies. My poems are tombs built for joy, each one holding a piece of what we were. The falcons still rise at dawn, their wings slicing the horizon, and I envy them, for they can go where my thoughts cannot. I am crying, and the reason is you, because even the sunrise feels like betrayal, for it dares to shine when you are gone. I have walked through gardens and palaces, spoken to scholars and saints, but no wisdom has cured the ache of losing you. Love, it seems, is both heaven and punishment. The candle burns low beside me. Its flame dances like your eyes once did. I watch it melt slowly, as I too melt into memories. You were my yesterday. You are still my tomorrow. The present is just the pause between what was and what I still dream. When people ask who I write for, I smile and say, for love. But deep inside, the truth whispers. I write for her who will never read. The sea calls softly from afar. Waves hum our unfinished song. If I could walk upon its surface, I would follow it until it reached your shore. I have loved you across seasons and lifetimes, across faith, across silence, across pain. Even when I tried to move on, your memory walked beside me like a loyal shadow. I am crying, and the reason is you, because my heart still kneels before the throne of what we were. The stars ask me to wish upon them, but my only wish is impossible. To hold your hand once more, to say all that my pride left unsaid. Forgive me for not being strong enough to let go of something eternal. Forgive me for keeping you alive in verses that bleed your name. You were not a chapter, you were the whole story. And now the book remains open, its pages fluttering in the wind of your absence. Sometimes I dream of a world where we never met, but even in that world, I would still write of a love I can't explain. The poets of old spoke of heartbreak, but none carried it as quietly as I do. Mine is a royal grief, hidden behind smiles and silken robes. I walk through the palace gardens, where moonlight spills like prayer. Every leaf shivers when I pass, as if it knows the language of longing. The fountains whisper softly, and I imagine they say your name. The marble floor reflects my tears, turning them into pearls of remembrance. I am crying, and the reason is you, because loving you was my greatest honor, and losing you my lifelong poem. If ever you read these lines, know they were written with devotion, not despair. Know that every word is a prayer, woven with respect, not regret. For though my heart is shattered, it bows to love like a worshipper at dawn, and even in ruin it glows, with the light you left behind. The night grows quiet now, as if exhausted by my grief. The stars dim gently, and I feel you near, soft as forgiveness, silent as peace. Maybe that is love's final lesson, that we do not lose what we truly feel, that absence is just another way the soul learns to stay. I close my eyes, whisper your name once more, and let the tears fall freely. For I am crying, and the reason is you, and if destiny would allow me to choose again, I would still choose you, even if it meant crying forever.